Chosen ones, have you felt the sting of someone you love pulling away, knowing deep down they're struggling with addiction and can't bear to face you? How do you keep fighting for them when you're the one person who sees through the mask they desperately cling to? The person you know, the one whose laughter once filled the room, now seems like a ghost of themselves. Their addiction has wrapped its fingers tightly around their mind, pulling them further away from who they used to be. You've seen it in their eyes, once bright and full of life, now dulled by the weight of a destructive force they can't seem to break free from. This addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or something else, consumes them from the inside, eroding everything they once were. The person you loved, the one you trusted, is fading right in front of you, yet you can't pull them back. You've likely noticed the small things first: conversations cut short, plans that once brought joy now met with indifference, and the ever-present hollow excuses. Their behavior shifts like shadows in a storm, unpredictable and violent, yet eerily familiar. It's as if you're standing in the eye of a hurricane, surrounded by chaos, but unable to reach them at the storm's center. You call out, but they don't hear you. Their addiction speaks louder than you ever could. You're not simply watching someone you care about struggle. You are entangled in the same web of destruction. The walls between you and them feel insurmountable, like you're clawing at a door that won't open, no matter how hard you try. They're pulling away, but you know it's not because they want to. It's because their addiction demands it. The more you try to reach them, the more distant they become. It feels like you're staring across a chasm that widens each day, and you wonder how long before they're completely gone, beyond reach, swallowed by the very thing that's tearing them apart. You've loved this person for as long as you can remember, bound to them by a connection that runs deeper than blood or words. Their presence has been a constant, like a lighthouse cutting through the fog of life, guiding you both through the years. But now, the light flickers, fading behind walls they've built to shield themselves from your gaze. You've noticed their distance, the sudden quietness that now fills the space between you, the way they avoid your calls, the awkward pauses in conversations that once flowed effortlessly. It's as though they've retreated into the shadows, unreachable, but still painfully near. They've started to pull away from everyone, not just you. They sidestep gatherings with family, avoid friends, and when you do see them, there's something hollow in their presence. It's not that they don't care, they do. But their addiction is like a vicious current pulling them under, and in their attempt to hide it, they've drawn a veil between themselves and the world. You can see it, clear as day, though they try to cover it with forced smiles and excuses that ring false. They carry the weight of their shame like a chain, every step burdened with guilt that drags them further from the people who love them. You know something's wrong, even if they won't say it. It's in the way their eyes dart away from yours, as if to avoid exposing the truth. They're trying to hide it, terrified that you'll see them differently, that you'll see their struggle as a weakness rather than the battle it truly is. But you see past their defenses because you know them. You can feel the storm swirling beneath their surface, and no matter how much they try to shield you from it, the tremors of their addiction ripple through everything they touch. You can't ignore it, because it's already tearing them apart, and you're forced to watch from the other side of a growing divide. When you confront them about their addiction, their reaction is immediate, sharp, like a wall slamming into place. They deflect with excuses, twist your words, or accuse you of overreacting. They become defensive, turning the conversation around until you're left questioning your own perception. It's like shouting into a void that answers back with hostility. Their addiction speaks for them now, a toxic voice convincing them that hiding their struggle is better than facing it. You feel the truth pressing against your chest, but they deny it, casting shadows over reality until you start to doubt yourself. They've become a master of disguise, wearing a mask so convincing that to most people, nothing seems wrong. Outwardly they laugh, they work, they socialize, all as though the addiction isn't pulling them apart from the inside. But you know the cracks are there, spreading beneath the surface like a spiderweb of fractures. Behind that mask, they are desperate to keep the truth buried, terrified of being exposed. They hide behind smiles that don't reach their eyes, jokes that feel forced, and a surface-level calm that only you can see through. This act, this performance, is exhausting for them, but admitting their addiction feels like a greater defeat than carrying on the charade. To everyone else, they are successful, stable, proof that nothing could be wrong. Their achievements and polished exterior make it easy for others to dismiss the growing chaos inside. They continue to function, maintaining the facade of control, while their addiction festers in secret. Friends, colleagues, even close family may fail to see the battle raging behind the mask because they present a version of themselves that fits neatly into what everyone expects. It's as though they are standing on the edge of a crumbling cliff, but the world only sees the carefully constructed platform beneath their feet. You see through it, but the rest remain oblivious, and this makes confronting the truth even harder. Despite their outward financial success, the person you care about is emotionally hollow, as though the spark inside them has long since burned out. They've built a life that looks impressive on the surface, a life defined by wealth, possessions, and achievements. Yet beneath the polished exterior, they are withering. Each day is spent keeping up appearances, walking through the motions of success, while their addiction gnaws away at their soul. They are trapped in a gilded cage, suffocating under the weight of their own accomplishments, which now feel meaningless against the pull of their dependency. No amount of money or material comfort can fill the void their addiction has carved into their life. Their addiction has taken root, seizing control of their every waking moment. It dictates their actions, colors their thoughts, and slowly drags them further into darkness. Even surrounded by luxury, they are a prisoner, shackled by the relentless demands of their addiction. They spend their days chasing something, anything, that might fill the emptiness inside, but no possession or status symbol can silence the chaos roaring within them. And the people around them, they see only what they want to see, the success, the power, the wealth. They don't notice the crumbling foundation underneath, or the person slowly unraveling behind the facade. They care only for what this person can provide materially, blind to the emotional collapse happening right before their eyes. You see it though. You know that while they might be surrounded by people, they are utterly alone. They've amassed a crowd, but not a single one of them truly sees the pain beneath the surface. Those around them take and take, content with the comfort this person offers but ignorant of the emptiness in return. They don't ask about the emotional exhaustion or the toll that addiction is taking because it's easier to look away. And so, this person continues to spiral, drowning in a sea of superficiality, with no one reaching out a hand that understands the true depth of their suffering. You see it, don't you? Beneath the glittering surface of their so-called success, they are trapped. And here's the thing. No one else seems to notice. But you do. You see the hollowness that wealth can't fill, the addiction that silently erodes their spirit. Everyone else is blind, but not you. And that's why I'm calling on you now to step up and see the truth. In the Obsidian Inner Order, we cut through illusions like this every day. We get to the real heart of what's going on beneath the surface, and we arm you with the tools to break through. This isn't about saving them. It's about sharpening your own awareness, your own power. When you join the Inner Order, you'll not only see through the traps of addiction, wealth, and false success, you'll learn how to navigate and even thrive amidst them. With over 300 chosen ones already gathering in our exclusive community, you'll be part of the most powerful nexus for ascension on the internet. We're talking exclusive teachings like the Modern Manifestation Mechanics Grimoire that goes far beyond the shallow promises the world offers, teaching you how to master the energy around you and rise. So I'll ask you, are you ready to step into your power? Because this isn't just for anyone. It's for the ones who see beneath the facade, who recognize the truth, and are ready to claim their space in the divine plan. Join the Obsidian Inner Order today. The link is in the description, but let me be clear. This is not for everyone. It's only for those who are ready to tear down the illusion, reclaim their own energy, and rise above. Your seat is waiting, but not for long. They lash out, throwing sharp words like daggers at the people who care most. You know it's not really them. Their addiction is speaking, stirring conflict where there should be peace. But the pain cuts deep nonetheless. They pick fights over the smallest things, igniting arguments like wildfires to keep you at a distance. It's as though they're building a wall with every cruel word, brick by brick, hoping you'll stop trying to break through. You, who sees past their defenses, who recognizes the truth they desperately try to bury. The closer you get, the more vicious the fights, as if pushing you away is their only means of control in a life spiraling out of it. They've begun isolating themselves, retreating from the world, suffocating under the weight of their addiction. You notice the distance growing, calls unanswered, plans cancelled, days of silence stretching into weeks. It's not just you. They've started to pull away from everyone, but it's you they push hardest against, because you're the one who can see them for who they really are. You've always been able to look past the surface, to see the cracks in the facade they present to the world, and that terrifies them. They know you can sense the addiction clawing away at them, and so they shut you out, hoping that if they push you far enough, you won't witness their collapse. The more they retreat, the more you feel the walls closing in. You try to reach them, but they slam the door in your face, retreating into a fortress of solitude, built out of fear and shame. Their addiction thrives in that isolation, feeding off the loneliness, the anger, the guilt. Every time they push you away, they tighten the grip of their addiction, reinforcing the lie that no one can help them, that they are beyond saving. And yet even through the anger, through the isolation, you know they are still in there, trapped beneath the layers of conflict and self-inflicted distance, silently crying out for someone to break through. Their all-or-nothing mindset drives everything they do, from their work to their relationships, and now that intensity is consumed by addiction. They plunge headfirst into everything, unable to find balance, and it's no different with the grip of their dependency. Their addictive nature, once channeled into productivity and passion, now drags them to dangerous extremes. In their world, there is no moderation, only the relentless push toward destruction. Their work, once a testament to their focus, now teeters on chaos, every effort either obsessive or abandoned altogether. Relationships unravel as they become more erratic, pushing people away one moment, clinging desperately the next, unable to maintain any sense of stability. You see it. Their behavior has spiraled into reckless, self-sabotaging choices. The person who once seemed in control is now on a path of destruction, running headlong into decisions that threaten to shatter everything they've built. They act without thought, like a wildfire consuming everything in its path. Every decision is another fuel-soaked match, another step toward burning their life down. They've lost sight of reason, lost the ability to pull themselves back from the edge. They spiral downward, caught in the relentless pull of their addiction, with each reckless act pushing them further from the person they once were. The chaos swirls faster, tightening its grip, and you watch, helpless, as they sink deeper. They avoid you now, not just out of shame, but out of fear that you'll see through the thin veil they've tried to keep intact. They know you can see the cracks, the tremors in their behavior, and that terrifies them more than the addiction itself. They hide from you because they know you won't accept their excuses, their lies. When they're with you, it's like standing in front of a mirror that reflects the truth they desperately want to ignore. They physically cover their eyes, as if by avoiding your gaze, they can make the reality of their addiction disappear. But you see them, even when they can't bear to see themselves. And that is what frightens them most. Your love stands as the single beacon piercing through their darkness, the one constant force that gives them a reason to consider breaking free. It's not just affection, it's an anchor in the storm, something they cling to when everything else is spiraling out of control. In the chaos of their addiction, when everything feels lost, they think of you. You are the reason they've even entertained the thought of getting clean, the hope they turn to when the weight of their choices bears down on them. Your love isn't just an abstract idea. It is their tether to the world, the one thing reminding them that there is something, someone, worth fighting for. They've tried before, haven't they? There were moments, brief flashes, when they seemed ready to change, to take that step toward recovery. They made the effort, perhaps because of a promise made to you, because they didn't want to lose the one person who has stood by them unconditionally. But addiction has a cruel way of tightening its grip just when freedom seems within reach. They've stumbled, fallen back, and the struggle now feels heavier than ever. Yet in those fleeting moments, it was your love that ignited the spark of hope. Even if they failed, they fought because of you. What you offer is unlike anything they've ever known. Your love isn't conditional on their success or failure. It's not transactional or based on what they can give you. It is steadfast, and that terrifies them as much as it gives them strength. To them, your love is a lifeline they both crave and fear, because with it comes the realization that they could be more, that they could change. They want to, but the struggle is overwhelming. Yet the thought of losing you, the only person who truly sees them and loves them for who they are, might be the only force strong enough to push them toward breaking free from the grip of their addiction. You possess an awareness that cuts through the masks others fail to see past. Your intuition isn't a vague feeling, it's a sharpened instinct, finely tuned to the smallest shifts in this person's behavior, the things no one else catches. While others see what they're meant to, you see what's hidden. You notice the hesitation in their voice, the slight tremor in their hands, the way their words don't align with the truths their eyes reveal. You don't need to be told something's wrong. You already know. Your connection with them runs deeper than mere surface-level observation, and that terrifies them because they know you can't be deceived. They avoid you because they know you see through the lies they tell themselves and others. It's not that they don't love you. In fact, it's because they do that they keep their distance. Facing you means facing the truth, and that's something they aren't ready for. With you, there's no hiding behind excuses, no pretending everything's fine. You're the mirror they don't want to look into, the reflection that reveals the depth of their addiction and the damage it's causing. Your presence forces them to confront the reality they spend so much time avoiding. The walls they build with others crumble when you're near, and that vulnerability is terrifying. Your intuition is both their greatest fear and their greatest comfort. They may pull away, but deep down they know you are the one person who truly understands what they're going through, even when they won't admit it. They can't hide from you, and that's why they retreat, because they know that with you, there's no escaping the truth of what they're doing to themselves. Your ability to read them so clearly is a threat to the fragile lies they cling to. And yet, it's the only path to the honesty they so desperately need. You are the key to exposing what they're too scared to face, and that's a power they both fear and need. They know they're on a path that's leading to ruin. It's not a secret to them, no matter how deeply they bury the thought or how many times they try to distract themselves from the reality. The weight of their addiction pulls them down like a relentless tide, dragging them further away from who they once were, but they haven't given up entirely. There's still a flicker of awareness inside them, a desperate recognition that they are sinking. The struggle to break free is real, and it's a battle they fight every day, against themselves, their cravings, and the destructive habits that have taken over their life. But the chains of addiction are heavy, and they can feel them tightening, no matter how much they want to escape. Your love has become their beacon, the thing that reminds them there is something worth fighting for. They look at you and see the hope for a life beyond this chaos. You're the voice in their head, urging them to rise above, to stop the cycle of self-destruction. The fight to overcome addiction is brutal. It's not a matter of willpower alone, and they know it. They're trying, stumbling, falling again and again, but your unwavering presence keeps them from losing all hope. They feel the possibility of redemption in the way you look at them, even when they're at their lowest. It is this love that breathes life into their broken spirit, making them believe that change is possible, even when the road feels impossible. The fear of losing you is the specter that looms over every step they take, They know they've pushed you, tested your patience, hurt you in ways you shouldn't have to endure. The thought of driving you away, of watching you walk out of their life, is what makes them consider the impossible, that they can change, that they can reclaim their life. That fear, coupled with your love, might be the only force strong enough to break the chains holding them down, though the struggle rages on every single day. They don't want to fail you. Even as they stumble through their addiction, weighed down by the mistakes they've made, they feel the weight of your expectations more deeply than anything else. They've disappointed themselves time and time again, but the thought of letting you down crushes them in a way that nothing else does. In your eyes, they see the possibility of redemption, a reason to keep pushing forward, no matter how many times they've faltered. They know their actions have hurt you, and it tears at them, even when they seem too lost in their struggle to show it. Your love is their lifeline, the one thing that cuts through the fog of their addiction and reminds them why they are still here. It's not just love in the abstract. It's a love that gives their life meaning, that makes every fight to break free from this darkness worth it. They're fighting because of the bond they share with you. Because even in their darkest moments, they know that your presence is something they cannot afford to lose. You make their life worth living, and every small step toward recovery is because of the faith you've placed in them, a faith they're trying to live up to, even when they fall short. Now, more than ever, your story, your fight matters. Share your experience. Let your words be the light for others walking this same road. You're not alone, and neither are they. By speaking your truth, you may inspire someone else to keep going, to believe that love and persistence can make the difference between being lost and finding the strength to rise again.